For decades, the cosmos belonged to nations, a grand collective dream etched in the exhaust trails of government rockets. But look up now, the stars are no longer just for flags, they're for sale. And the buyers, a new breed of titans, their ambitions as vast as the void itself. Welcome back to our channel. Let's start today with a brief refresher. In the last century, space was a battleground between world powers. It took 6 years and 20 launches to land humans on the moon for the first time. But that achievement wasn't just about scientific triumph. It was a stark game of high-stakes chicken, each mission edging us closer to annihilation. That's why they called it the space race. Today, a new race is underway. But the finish line is a colony on Mars, an outpost on the moon, a mining rig on an asteroid. And the competitors, well, they're different too. Forget state-backed agencies. This time, private companies are taking the lead. And forget slow, steady progress. The pace is breakneck. And the players, visionaries, mavericks, geniuses, billionaires. We're talking Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson, people who make decisions over weekend retreats and set records just to prove they can. This isn't your grandfather's space program. In fact, it might be your ticket to a whole new world. Where do you get a hotel suite on the moon? How much does an asteroid cost? Do alien artifacts count as salvage? Well, probably not yet, but let's pull back the curtain on this billionaire boys club, because the future of space is being decided behind closed doors, and the rules have changed. First off, let's talk money, because we're not just talking pennies here. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars. Seriously, that's more money than most countries spend on their entire defense budget. And with that kind of cash, these tech titans can play God. They can bend governments, bypass treaties, and rewrite the rules. The old space race was about national pride and political clout. This one, it's about profits. It's about carving up the cosmos like some celestial real estate. And believe me, there's a lot of real estate up there. Asteroids worth billions. Moons ripe for the picking and planets begging to be colonized. Take Elon Musk, for example. He's got his eyes on everything, including Mars. Don't believe me? Check out his Twitter feed. It's like a love letter to the red planet. And he's not just talking sweet nothings either. He's laying down plans for an interplanetary civilization, complete with self-sustaining colonies and million-strong cities. He even tossed in a little Martian democracy for good measure. Talk about audacity. Then there's Jeff Bezos. This guy doesn't do things in half measures. His Blue Origin is like the penthouse suite of space travel, a luxury experience that makes you feel like a gazillionaire. I mean, check out their new Glenn rocket. It's like a silver bullet straight out of a sci-fi movie. Bezos has even bigger dreams though. He wants millions living and working in space, building orbital cities, so that Earth can be preserved as some kind of natural history museum. And let's not forget Richard Branson, the daredevil billionaire who just can't resist a good adventure. His Virgin Galactic is like the Wild West of space travel. Branson is all about bringing the thrills to the everyday Joe, letting them experience zero gravity and the wonder of space. Branson once said, "I've always been a restless person. If I'm not learning and growing, I get itchy." And you can tell by his string of businesses that span everything from music to trains to space travel. He's never satisfied with the status quo. He always wants to shake things up and add a little bit of virgin flair. These guys aren't just entrepreneurs. They're space pioneers. Okay, maybe pioneer is a bit of a stretch, but you gotta admit, they're pretty audacious. They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible and making space travel more accessible than ever before. But here's the catch, or rather, the catch. For every grand vision, there are a ton of questions that nobody seems to have an answer for. Like what happens when these private companies start staking their claim on the moon or asteroids? Who owns those resources and how do you defend them? And let's not forget the elephant in the room. These companies are, well, let's say exclusive. They're catering to the ultra-rich, the people who can afford to pay astronomical prices just for a taste of space travel. That leaves the rest of us, earthbound peons, twiddling our thumbs and feeling left out. It's like the billionaire boys club of space, and we're not invited. Here's the deal. When these companies start mapping out their territories in space, things can get pretty complicated. Take SpaceX, for example. They're already sending cargo to the ISS and plan to launch astronauts on their next mission. That's big league stuff. But what happens when they start digging for resources on asteroids or the moon? Who gets to decide how those resources are used and distributed? Sure, we're talking about the far future, but the decisions made today will shape how all of this pans out. The ethics of space resource extraction are going to be a hot topic. It's like the Wild West all over again, except this time we're talking about the final frontier. So if these companies want to play space cowboys, they better have a plan to handle the consequences. As for the elephant in the room, let's just say it's not exactly thrilled about sharing the spotlight. The space industry has traditionally been dominated by governments and space agencies like NASA. They've got the experience, the expertise, and the resources to make space exploration happen. But now these private companies are swooping in and shaking things up. It's like a bull in a china shop, except the bull is a billionaire with a rocket, and the china shop is outer space. These companies are changing the game, and not everyone's happy about it. Some folks worry that private space travel is just a playground for the rich and famous. After all, not everyone can afford a trip on Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic. It's like the private jets of space travel, and that's a bummer. But hey, maybe someday space travel will become more accessible. Until then, it's going to be a bumpy ride. But you know what? Disagreements are good. They're the birthplace of innovation and progress. Plus, it's not like these companies are just sitting around stroking their space cats. They're investing in research and development, creating jobs, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Who knows, maybe one day we'll all be living in space, hurtling through the cosmos in style and comfort. Well, maybe not that day, but it's nice to dream. And that brings us to the biggest question of all, the great cosmic conundrum. What happens when these private companies run into something really big, like an asteroid field or, and here's a crazy idea, aliens? Okay, maybe not aliens, but definitely something unexpected, because let's face it, space is full of surprises. And when I say surprises, I mean the kind that can blow your spaceship into smithereens. I'm talking about black holes, those mysterious cosmic entities that have more mass than 1 trillion suns crammed into a space smaller than a pinhead. Seriously, they're like the vacuum cleaners of the universe, sucking in anything that gets too close. And we don't exactly know how they work or how to avoid them. Just ask any unfortunate soul that's fallen victim to their gravitational pull. Yeah, they're not big fans of black holes. So when these companies start blasting off into the great unknown, what happens when they stumble upon one of these cosmic monsters? And trust me, they will. It's only a matter of time. Or, how about dark matter? That mysterious substance that makes up a whopping 80% of the matter in the universe. But we can't see it or touch it. It's like the ghost of the galaxy, haunting us from beyond the veil. And we have no idea how it behaves or how it could react to these private enterprises poking around in its turf. Then there's the issue of contamination. When these companies start setting up shop on other celestial bodies, they're bringing along more than just their equipment and supplies. They're bringing along bacteria, fungi, microorganisms that hitchhike on their spacecraft and wreak havoc on alien ecosystems. I mean, just think about what happened when NASA's Viking landers touched down on Mars. We sent these probes to explore the red planet, and they inadvertently contaminated it with Earth microbes. Not exactly a stellar move. And if that happens again, but on a larger scale, with private companies setting up shop on other worlds, it could be disastrous. Not to mention the logistics of defending these outposts against, well, anything. Imagine you're hanging out on a Martian colony, and suddenly a rogue asteroid decides to crash the party. How do you defend yourself against that? You call up NASA? Yeah, good luck with that. These companies are going to need some serious firepower to protect their interests in space, and that raises some serious questions. Do they have the right to wage war on celestial bodies? Who do they answer to when things go sideways? And let's not forget about the legal complications. When these companies start staking their claims on asteroids or moons, they're going to run into some serious legal issues. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 is supposed to govern activities in space, but it was written before private companies started blasting off into the cosmos. It's like trying to apply 20th century laws to 21st century technology. And that raises some serious questions. Does the treaty even apply to these private ventures? How do you enforce it? And what happens when these companies start butting heads over celestial real estate? It's like the Wild West all over again, except this time we're talking about the final frontier, and six-shooters aren't going to cut it up there. The space frontier is a lawless land, a digital desert where fortunes are made and lost on the blink of an eye. And in this brave new world, the rules don't apply. The risks are endless, and the rewards are beyond imagination. If you're a space cowboy with a cybernetic steed and a data-driven six-shooter, you're in luck, because in the space frontier, the only law is the one you make yourself. So buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy ride, okay? So let's step back for a minute from all this cosmic chaos and talk about the real reason these companies are venturing into the great beyond: profit. It's all about the almighty dollar. These companies aren't motivated by altruism or the pursuit of knowledge. They're motivated by the same thing that drives every other business: money. And that raises some serious ethical questions. Are these companies exploiting the cosmos for their own gain? What happens when their interests conflict with the greater good of humanity? And how do we ensure that they don't abuse their power in the pursuit of profit? It's like when corporations set up shop in developing countries, promising to bring jobs and prosperity, but instead end up exploiting workers and draining the local economy. What if that happens in space? What if these companies turn the cosmos into a giant ATM machine? And let's not forget about the environmental impact. These companies are launching rockets and probes and satellites into the atmosphere. And yeah, sure, some of that stuff ends up in space, but a lot of it ends up polluting our planet. I mean, just think about all the plastic and metal and toxic chemicals that these companies are sending into the sky. What happens when that stuff starts raining down back to Earth? It's like the ultimate littering campaign, and it's not exactly eco-friendly. And then there's the issue of control. When these companies start dominating the space industry, who's going to keep them in check? Governments. Yeah, good luck with that. These companies have more money than most countries and more influence than you can shake a rocket at. It's like they're the new world order, only instead of ruling the earth, they're ruling the skies. And if you don't like it, you can just get lost in space. Well, folks, that's a wrap on today's episode. But before you go, let us know what you think in the comments below. What do you think these companies are hiding up? They're in the stars. Are they just after some good old-fashioned profit? Or is there something more sinister going on? And remember, if you liked this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more updates.